justice.
No collusion, no obstruction. He's a leaker, but we want to get back to running our great country.
Former FBI Director Jim Comey is the leaker. President Trump says he has no problem telling his side under oath. Counsel to the president, Kellyanne Conway, and one of President Trump's attorneys, Jay Sekulow, join me live. Plus, reaction from Donald Trump Jr., and he's not holding back.
The head of the FBI is saying, then he's saying, well, if I was a stronger individual, I may.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
You're the head of the FBI.
And
Comey, WikiLeaks, voter suppression, fake news.
I'll talk about the latest episode of The Blame Game starring, guess who? Hillary Clinton in tonight's Street Justice.
Lucy, is there a reason Hillary Clinton keeps blaming people? Did she blame you?
You won't want to miss a minute of this one. Justice starts now. Breaking tonight, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions to appear on Capitol Hill this Tuesday. Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. Attorney General Jeff Sessions agrees to go before the Senate Intelligence Committee just 1 week after the blockbuster testimony of former FBI Director James Comey. Full analysis on that coming up. But first, to my opening statement. With the country on the verge of a constitutional crisis and a level of hysteria not witnessed since Watergate, the greatest political hoax since Eve convinced Adam to eat that apple is being spun by Jim Comey in a conspiracy worthy of a Greek tragedy. And like all Greek tragedies, there's no good ending. He arrives all indignant before a Senate Intelligence Committee, calling the President of the United States a liar, saying he's the victim. He's been defamed. The President said the FBI was poorly run. Imagine. Were your feelings hurt, Jim? As if we didn't already know the FBI was in disarray after your repeated debacles with Hillary Clinton in the run-up to the presidential election. Poor Jim. You sound like a 2-year-old. Grow up. On second thought, don't. You're tall enough. But what do we know? Jim Comey doesn't much like Donald Trump, actually admitting he felt slightly nauseous that he might be responsible for Trump's win. He does something he's never done with other presidents, including that font of veracity, Barack Obama. He decides Donald Trump might lie to him, so he calculates to document every alleged word of their encounter, take it with him, and then leak it to the press. The only problem, the record is a federal record, and removing it, a clear violation of the Federal Records Act. Some foresight, though, huh? Thinking the president will lie to him. Comey's crystal ball at work. So he gives it to a friend to leak to the New York Times in order to get a special counsel to investigate the president. Curious. While he was head of the FBI, Trump was not under investigation. But once he's fired, humiliated, and an ex-employee, Comey decides Trump needs to be investigated. Jim, you had the power as the nation's chief law enforcement officer to investigate him, and you didn't. And now, a disgruntled ex-employee, you leak presidential conversations. Why? Your excuse? Once Donald Trump tweeted, "You better hope there are no tapes of your conversations," you say you had no choice but to defend yourself. Defend yourself? Your crystal ball must have been on overdrive, because what you defensively leaked in response to Trump tweet was published in the New York Times before Trump even tweeted. You were under oath, Jim. You sure you told the truth? So why not leak to the New York Times yourself?
I worried it would be like feeding seagulls at the beach if it was I who gave it to the media. So I asked my friend, make sure this gets out.
Really? Weren't you worried, though, that some reporter might out you? And, Jim, I'm having a real hard time believing this was your virgin attempt at leaking. Who even thinks like that, especially someone who is supposed to be the paradigm of virtue and ethics that you hold yourself out to be? And your hogwash about that shining city on a hill. You're the director of the FBI, acting like J. Edgar Hoover, surreptitiously leaking negative information about the president. Doesn't that send a message to the FBI that, hey, it's okay now to leak? You allow a New York Times article saying members of Trump's campaign had repeated contact with senior Russian intelligence officials to proliferate in spite of the fact you knew it wasn't true. You could have put truth to that lie, Jim, but you refused, allowing the country to suffer a trauma hyped to Watergate proportions. And if you didn't want to criticize the New York Times, why not at least surreptitiously leak to the Times that this was false? Or was your agenda to proliferate anti-Trump hate? And, Mr. America, one thing never leaked, that Donald Trump was not under investigation. Why refuse to say the president is not under investigation? You say because maybe one day he will be? That's your response? Maybe one day Martians will take a seat on the United States Supreme Court. Could it be, Jim, that being a team player is not in your DNA, that only center stage will do for you? And you're pretty damn wily when asked if an FBI agent has a duty to report a crime?
That's a good question. I don't know that there's a legal duty to report it. They certainly have a cultural, ethical duty to report it.
Are you kidding? Are you the same guy who lectured the country on a federal statute regarding Hillary Clinton? And now you're not sure about an issue central to your testimony? Like when you and your pal, now special counsel Mueller, had a showdown described as, quote, the single most extraordinary moment of the tumultuous Bush years? And obstruction of justice by the president? You and I both know, Jim, that if you believe that and don't report it, you're guilty of a felony.
I don't think it's for me to say whether the conversation I had with the president was an effort to obstruct. I took it as a very disturbing thing.
Not for you to say. Are you schizo? Are you the same guy who held a press conference to do what has never been done in the history of this country and announced to the world that no reasonable prosecutor would indict Hillary? By the way, Mr. America, how is it that you always seem to find yourself in the middle of a national crisis? Like that time you called in the FBI to rush you to John Ashcroft's hospital room to stop President Bush and save the nation. Jim, do you have illusions of grandeur? You spend a lot of time talking about your emotions.
It makes me mildly nauseous, so that gave me a queasy feeling. That's why I was so uneasy. I was so stunned. They were as shocked and troubled by it as I was. I was honestly concerned that he might lie. They confused me. It caused a whole lot of personal pain for me.
Was the job too much for you, Jim? Or was it straight politics? Why not just say, you know, Mr. President, I know you don't know the ways of Washington, but are you directing me to end an investigation? That way, no surreptitious leaking. The country wouldn't have to go through the trauma that's so much a part of your own personal drama. You might even have said, this is wrong, I can't do this. Like that time when Loretta Lynch asked you to lie to the country and not say Hillary was under investigation and instead use a parallel language the Clintons did. You did so, and you were dishonest with the American people. And even though you knew damn well Loretta Lynch was violating Justice Department ethics by even meeting the husband of a target of a long-standing active criminal investigation, you went along with her request to say that there was a Hillary Clinton matter and not an investigation. You knew it was wrong, but, quote, it wasn't a hill worth dying on. Man, are you dramatic. How many times were you pressured to do things during the Obama administration that weren't right? Why not report this? Why not surreptitiously leak? Why not ask for a special counselor for her? The truth? Jim, you're a political operative. You always have been. One who's addicted to drama, addicted to center stage. But like the main character in all Greek tragedies, your downfall is a consequence of a tragic flaw, a major weakness, your hubris. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page or Twitter. That's my open. Hashtag Jeanine. Joining me now is Counselor to President Trump, Kellyanne Conway. Hi, Kellyanne.
Hi. My first impression is I'm very pleased to be on your good side and hope to always remain there.
Let me tell you something. You know, the sad part of all this is once we find out what has happened, we realize that all the good stuff that you have been trying to talk about, the administration has been trying to talk about, has been basically covered by this theory, this conspiracy, the president under investigation. What is your reaction to this?
There really is a tale of two White Houses, and I'm here to talk about the many measures the president is taking, Jeanine, including just this very week, that has impact on people's lives, and that's why he's there. That's why the vice president's why we're all there. And this was Infrastructure Week. It was very successful. The president spent 4 of the 5 days working with governors, mayors, other municipal leaders, tribal leaders. He went to the Department of Transportation and made a huge announcement. And at the beginning of the week, he announced something I think everybody should be very happy about. A way to modernize and bring into the 21st century our air system, air traffic control system.
It's so pathetic.
You know, it was built to accommodate 100,000 passengers annually. We now have about 1 billion passengers annually.
Right?